With respect, I prepared the traditional soup myself this evening. I hope it is to your liking.
I wanted to listen to the story to the end and subscribe to my channel.
Honestly, Elena, I expect the staff to remain unseen during family dinners. Your presence is quite distracting.
Is this food, or did you scrape it out of a gutter? The words cracked across the dining hall so violently that even the servants near the walls lowered their eyes. Catherine rose slowly from her chair at the head of the table, the diamonds on her fingers flashing beneath the chandelier light. Her expensive wine-colored lace gown swept against the polished marble floor as she stared into the bowl of soup before her with open disgust. The mansion fell silent. At the far end of the room, Elena stood beside the kitchen entrance, both hands clasped tightly behind her back. The smell of spices and fresh herbs still clung to her clothes after spending the entire morning cooking. "It's the traditional soup you requested," Elena said quietly. "I prepared it myself." Catherine let out a short laugh filled with cruelty. "You prepared it?" she repeated. "Then perhaps poverty truly has a smell." She lifted the silver spoon delicately, as though touching poison. A few drops of soup slid back into the bowl. "Look at this watery mess," she said loudly, turning toward the long dining table. "My brother used to eat in the finest restaurants in Europe. He drank wine worth more than your father's yearly salary. Then he married you, and now he eats peasant soup like a beggar sitting by the roadside." Several relatives around the table forced uncomfortable smiles. Nobody dared speak against Catherine. Not in this house. Not in her empire. Julian sat quietly beside his untouched plate. His shoulders were stiff beneath his black dinner suit. Though he owned companies across the city, everybody knew the truth. Catherine controlled the real wealth. Their late father had trusted her with the estate, the hidden accounts, the family properties, and Catherine never let anyone forget it. "Catherine, please," Julian muttered weakly. "Oh, don't please me." She snapped her head toward him. "You are becoming soft because of this woman." Elena lowered her eyes respectfully. "The market prices have increased recently. I tried my best with the budget provided for the house." Catherine froze. Then her lips curled slowly into a dangerous smile. "So now," she said softly, "this is my fault?" The room became colder. Catherine walked around the table in slow, measured steps. Her perfume filled the air thick and suffocating like dying flowers. She stopped directly in front of Elena. "I give you more money in 1 week," Catherine hissed, "than your entire family has seen in generations. Yet every month the kitchen budget disappears. Tell me, Elena, how much are you secretly sending to those hungry villagers you call relatives?" Elena's throat tightened. "I would never steal from this family." "Oh, but you already did," Catherine snapped. "You stole my brother's dignity the day he married beneath his class." Julian still said nothing. That silence hurt Elena more than every insult. She turned slightly toward her husband, hoping just once that he would defend her. But Julian only stared at his plate. The tiny hope inside her chest died quietly. Catherine noticed and smiled. "You see," Catherine whispered, "even your husband is ashamed of you." Then suddenly, without warning, Catherine grabbed a bowl of soup. Gasps filled the dining room. Before anyone could react, she flung the bowl downward. The hot soup exploded across the white marble floor. Some splashed onto Elena's feet. The burning liquid soaked through her thin slippers and stained the edge of her simple skirt. A servant near the wall flinched. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Catherine placed the empty bowl gently back on the table as if nothing had happened. "Clean it," she said coldly. Elena stared at the spreading soup silently. "Catherine," Julian said nervously. "Clean it with your hands," Catherine continued, ignoring him completely. "That is all those hands are good for anyway." The humiliation settled heavily over the room. Elena slowly bent down onto her knees. The marble floor was still hot from the soup. Pain burned against her skin, but she refused to cry. Catherine loved tears. Tears were entertainment to her. Instead, Elena reached for a napkin and began wiping the floor carefully. Catherine folded her arms. "Look at you," she mocked softly. "This is where you truly belong. On your knees." Julian shifted uncomfortably in his chair. His wife was kneeling on the floor in front of his entire family, and he still could not find the courage to speak. Elena noticed his silence again. Something changed inside her. Not loudly, not suddenly, just a small crack deep within her heart. Catherine leaned closer. "You brought bad luck into this house the day you entered it. Since then, everything has been declining. The businesses struggle. The family fights constantly. Even this mansion feels smaller with your poverty crawling through the halls." "That's enough," Julian whispered. But his voice carried no power. Catherine laughed openly now. "No, dear brother. The truth has only just begun." She pointed toward the stained marble floor. "If I come downstairs tomorrow morning and see even one mark left by this disgusting soup, you will scrub the entire kitchen floor with your bare hands." Elena kept cleaning quietly. Catherine turned toward the relatives at the table. "Some women marry into wealth and become queens," she said. "Others arrive carrying curses wrapped in cheap dresses." A few people laughed nervously. Elena heard every single laugh, every whisper, every breath. She memorized all of it. Finally, Julian stood up from his chair. Relief flickered briefly through Elena's chest. Maybe now he would help her. Maybe now he would tell Catherine to stop. But Julian only adjusted his cuffs and avoided looking at his wife. "I'll be in my study," he muttered. Then he walked away. The sound of his footsteps echoed through the dining hall like betrayal itself. Elena stopped wiping for just 1 second. That hurt more than the soup, more than the insults, more than the laughter. The man she had defended, supported, and loved had abandoned her in front of everyone simply because he feared his sister. Catherine noticed the pain in Elena's eyes and smiled with satisfaction. "Yes," she whispered. "Even he knows you are nothing." Then she turned and walked away, her high heels clicking sharply against the marble floor until the sound disappeared into the mansion. One by one, the relatives rose from the table and followed her. Soon, the massive dining hall became empty. Only Elena remained, still kneeling, still cleaning. The chandeliers above her glittered like cold stars. Outside, rain began falling against the tall windows of the mansion. Elena slowly placed the dirty napkin aside and stared at her trembling hands. Those same hands Catherine called worthless had once helped her sick mother sell food by the roadside. Those hands had cooked through hunger, heartbreak, and struggle. Those hands had built survival from almost nothing. And now, those hands shook not from weakness, but from rage. For the first time in years, Elena allowed herself to see the truth clearly. This family never accepted her. To them, she was not Julian's wife. She was decoration, a servant wearing a wedding ring, a poor girl they could humiliate whenever they pleased. Elena stood slowly to her feet. Drops of soup still stained her skirt like scars. Her eyes lifted toward the dark hallway where Catherine had disappeared. Then, very slowly, Elena smiled. It was not the smile of a broken woman. It was the smile of someone who had finally stopped begging for love. Because Catherine did not know something. The wealth she worshipped, the empire she controlled, the businesses she bragged about were already beginning to rot from the inside. Elena knew. She had seen the hidden documents, the unpaid loans, the fake contracts, the secret accounts, and like a silent fire beneath a beautiful house, destruction was already spreading. Catherine believed she was untouchable. But storms do not ask permission before they destroy kingdoms. And somewhere deep inside Elena's quiet heart, something dangerous had awakened. Not weakness, not pain, Patience. The first sign of collapse did not come as thunder. It came quietly, like a crack forming in glass, long before it shatters. At first, Catherine did not notice anything unusual. She still woke up in silk sheets. She still gave orders to servants who bowed too quickly. She still signed papers without reading them, trusting that the empire her father built would obey her forever. But empires built on lies never announce their death. They simply begin to forget how to stand. 3 years passed like that. 3 years of invisible fractures spreading through wealth, reputation, and trust. The first shock came when one of the family companies froze its accounts. Then another. Then a bank meeting that Catherine attended personally ended with silence instead of greetings. Men who once smiled at her now avoided her eyes. "We need clarification on your financial records," one of them said politely. Catherine laughed. "Clarification?" she repeated. "Do you know who you are speaking to?" But the banker did not smile back. That was the first moment something cold touched her confidence. Still, she dismissed it. "Small delays," she told Julian that night. "Nothing serious." Julian, however, had stopped responding with certainty. He was quieter now, more distant. His once sharp confidence as a businessman had begun to fade under pressure he refused to explain. And Elena noticed everything from a distance, always from a distance. She never interfered. She never warned. She simply watched the structure of Catherine's world begin to bend. The second crack came when luxury properties started being quietly sold. At first, Catherine did not question it. Then she noticed the staff reducing. Then the cars disappearing from the garage. Then the family lawyer stopped answering her calls. By the time she confronted him, he refused to meet her face to face. "We are restructuring everything," his assistant said instead. Catherine slammed the phone down. "This is nonsense," she snapped at Julian later. "Someone is sabotaging us." Julian did not argue. He simply said, "Maybe we should be careful." That word careful felt foreign in Catherine's world. Careful was for weak people, for people who feared consequences. Catherine did not fear consequences. She created them, or so she believed. Then came the newspaper. A single headline that changed everything. "Major financial fraud investigation hits prominent family holdings." Catherine read it 3 times before she understood it. Her hands went cold. "That's impossible," she whispered. But the article listed names, companies she controlled, accounts she thought were invisible, transactions that should never have been discovered. Julian turned pale when he saw it. This is bad," he admitted quietly. For the first time in years, Catherine did not have a response. The storm had finally begun, and it did not stop. Investigators arrived. Offices were sealed. Employees disappeared overnight, taking documents with them. Partners withdrew instantly, like people escaping a sinking ship. Catherine tried to fight it. She called contacts. She demanded meetings. She threatened lawsuits. But doors that once opened for her now stayed closed. And every refusal chipped away at her identity. Julian, unable to bear the shame and pressure, began withdrawing completely. He stopped attending meetings, stopped answering calls, stopped coming home at night. One evening, Elena noticed his empty seat at dinner. Nobody mentioned it. Nobody asked. That silence spoke louder than any argument. Then came the final blow. The bank accounts were frozen. All of them. The estate accounts, the offshore holdings, the trust funds, everything. Catherine stood in her father's old office holding a letter she could barely read properly. Her hands were shaking. "This is temporary," she told herself. "This is just a misunderstanding." But deep down, something inside her already knew. It was not misunderstanding. It was exposure. The empire was not collapsing. It was being revealed. And what was being revealed was ugly. By the end of the month, luxury cars, were repossessed one by one. Drivers left without goodbye. Servants began resigning quietly. The mansion, once filled with life and noise, started to feel hollow. Then, one morning, Catherine woke up and noticed something terrifying. The silence was permanent. Julian was gone. No note. No explanation. Just empty hangers in the wardrobe and a missing suitcase. Catherine stood frozen in the middle of the bedroom. For the first time in her life, she could not command anyone to fix something. That night, she walked through the mansion alone. Every room felt larger than before. Every echo felt like judgment. She found Elena in the kitchen, still calm, still steady, still unchanged. Elena was preparing tea. Catherine stared at her. "How long have you known?" she asked suddenly. Elena paused, not surprised, not afraid, just calm. "I know many things," Elena replied softly. Catherine stepped closer. "This is your doing," she whispered. "You are behind this." For a moment, something dangerous flickered in Catherine's voice. But Elena only looked at her, and for the first time, Catherine felt something unfamiliar. Uncertainty. "No," Elena said quietly. "You did this to yourself a long time ago. I simply learned to watch." That answer enraged Catherine. "You are still nothing," she snapped. "A poor girl I rescued from obscurity." Elena placed the teacup down gently and smiled. "I was never rescued," she said. The words hung in the air, heavy, final. Then she turned away as if Catherine was no longer important enough to continue the conversation. That was the moment Catherine felt it. Not loss of money, not loss of power, something deeper. Reversal. The world she controlled was no longer responding to her voice. And worse, Elena no longer feared her. Days turned into weeks. The mansion began to lose electricity in certain wings. Food deliveries became inconsistent. Security guards stopped greeting her properly. Respect was evaporating faster than money. Catherine tried to hold on to dignity, but dignity without power is just performance, and performance eventually collapses. One afternoon, she received a final notice. Eviction. Legal seizure. Full investigation confirmed. Her father's empire was officially declared fraudulent. She read it, standing alone in the grand hallway. The same hallway where she once humiliated Elena. Her knees almost gave way. That evening, she tried to find Julian again, but his phone was disconnected. His office is empty. His presence erased. He had fled the country without a trace, leaving everything behind, including her. That night, Catherine sat in the dark dining hall, the same table where she once threw soup, the same marble floor Elena once scrubbed on her knees. Now it was Catherine's turn to sit in silence. The chandelier flickered. The mansion groaned under its own emptiness. And for the first time, Catherine spoke softly into the void. "What have I become?" But no one answered. Outside, the wind began to rise again. Not gently, not quietly, but with purpose. And somewhere in the distance, Elena's new company sign lit up the night like a quiet warning. The Heart of Elena. Catherine stared at it from her window and finally understood something she had refused to see all her life. Some people do not rise by chance. Some people rise by waiting. Catherine's first morning without a driver felt unreal. She stood outside the mansion gate at 5:47 a.m., holding a small suitcase that suddenly looked too heavy for the life she now carried. The air was cold, in a way she had never noticed before. Sharp, honest, unforgiving. No one came to open the car door. No one greeted her. No one even looked at her with fear anymore. The world had stopped reacting to Catherine, and that silence was louder than any insult she had ever spoken. The eviction notice had already been enforced. Locks had been changed. Guards had been replaced. The estate that once answered to her name now treated her like a stranger walking past a locked kingdom. She turned slowly. There was nowhere left to return to. A black government truck passed by without slowing down. Inside it were boxes, furniture, documents, remnants of a life that no longer belonged to her. Catherine watched it disappear down the road. Then she walked, not because she wanted to, because she had no other direction. The first days on the streets did not break her immediately. Humiliation rarely arrives all at once. It arrives in pieces. A closed door, a turned face, a whispered recognition followed by silence. At first, she tried to hold on to dignity. She still spoke like Catherine. She still expected responses. I need accommodation, she told the hotel receptionist once. The receptionist looked at her torn clothes and hesitated. We are fully booked, he said quickly. She tried another hotel. Then another. By the third day, she stopped trying. That was when hunger entered the conversation. It did not shout. It simply stayed. 3 days without proper food changed the way she walked. The city she once drove through with tinted windows now exposed every smell, every sound, every truth she had ignored. And then she saw it. The building, clean, modern, alive. A steady stream of workers entering and leaving with purpose. On the glass front, bold silver letters, the hearth of Elena. Catherine stopped walking. Her stomach tightened not just from hunger, but from something deeper. Recognition. This was no longer Elena's survival. This was Elena's empire. She stood there for a long time, watching people move inside like they belonged to something stable, something growing, something certain. Catherine swallowed hard and walked toward the gate. The security guard looked at her once and immediately frowned. I want to see the owner, she said, trying to steady her voice. The guard did not even hesitate. She does not meet walk-ins, he replied. I am not a walk-in, Catherine said sharply. I am. She stopped, because she realized she had nothing left to attach after I am. The guard studied her for a moment longer, then said, Go and join the line behind the building. Behind the building. The words felt like a sentence. Still, Catherine obeyed, not because she was humble, but because hunger had already begun rewriting her pride. The line behind the warehouse was long, too long. People waiting for jobs, for food, for chance. Catherine stood at the back. At first, she stood straight. Then her legs began to arc. Then the sun rose higher. Then her identity began to dissolve into the heat. Hours passed. She did not leave. Not because she was patient, because she had nowhere else to go. By the time her turn came, her throat was dry and her lips cracked. A clerk asked for her name. She hesitated, then gave it. The reaction was instant. A small pause. A flicker of recognition. Whispers, then silence again. Go upstairs, the clerk said finally. Catherine's heart tightened. She climbed. Each step felt heavier than the last. The air changed as she entered the top floor. Cooler, calmer, controlled. And then she saw her, Elena. She sat behind a glass desk like it was built for her specifically. Not overwhelmed, not rushed, not uncertain. She was signing documents with one hand while speaking into a phone with the other. Her voice was steady, professional, precise. Catherine stopped at the door. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then Elena finished her call, slowly, deliberately, and looked up. No shock, no surprise, only recognition. I knew you would come, Elena said calmly. Catherine stepped forward. Her voice cracked. Elena, please. The name sounded foreign coming out of her mouth. I need help. Elena leaned back slightly in her chair. She studied her. Not cruelly, not emotionally, like someone reviewing a past decision. You look different, Elena said. Catherine's eyes filled instantly. I have nothing, she whispered. My brother is gone. The house is gone. Everything is gone. Please, any job. I don't care what it is. I will clean. I will sweep. I will do anything. Elena was silent for a long moment. Then she stood up, walked slowly toward the window. Outside, the city moved like a machine she now controlled. You told me once, Elena said softly, that my hands were only good for cleaning trash. Catherine flinched. You told me I was a mistake your family allowed to enter your house. Elena turned slightly. And you threw my food on the floor because you said it belonged in the gutter. Catherine dropped to her knees, not dramatically, not performatively, but completely. Elena, I was wrong. Her voice broke. I was cruel. I was proud. I don't even recognize myself anymore. Please, I am starving. I am nothing now. Elena walked back to her desk, sat down again, picked up a glass of water, took a slow sip, then placed it down. You want work? She asked quietly. Yes, Catherine said quickly. Anything. Elena nodded once. My company handles city sanitation contracts, she said. We clean gutters, waste channels, drainage systems. Catherine froze. Elena continued. It is dirty work. The smell is strong. You will not be treated specially. You will wake up at 5 every morning like everyone else. Catherine swallowed hard. Yes, she whispered. I will do it. Elena studied her for a moment longer, then added, You will also leave behind the warehouse. In the workers' shack. Catherine nodded again, tears falling now freely. Yes, I accept. Elena leaned slightly forward. And Catherine? Catherine looked up immediately. Elena's voice lowered. If you miss one day of work, you leave the company permanently. There will be no second chance. I understand, Catherine said quickly. Silence. Then Elena spoke again. Start tomorrow. Catherine bowed her head. Thank you, she whispered. Elena did not respond immediately. Instead, she looked at her for a long time, then said softly, Don't thank me yet. And just like that, the meeting ended. Catherine stood up slowly, her legs shaking. As she turned to leave, she glanced back once. Elena had already returned to her work, efficient, unbothered, unchanged, as if Catherine was no longer an event in her life, only a task assigned. Outside, the sun felt harsher than before, and for the first time in her life, Catherine realized something terrifying. She was no longer feared. She was no longer important. She was now simply employed.